veterans have perspective, this could be Anze Kopitar's last game in Dallas. Just you being a veteran player, and you've obviously gone up against him, what he's meant to that team, what he's brought to this league, just players going through types of careers that he's had.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy I've always looked up to in a lot of ways. I got to know him a little bit earlier in my career. We have the same agency and a bunch of stuff, and really good dude. Obviously, guy, captain over there, leader for that team. Won 2 cups, and guy you never like to play against because his game's just translated through different eras and different decades and stuff like that. And he's a hell of a player. It's been it's one of those guys that you'll remember playing against for sure.
What does it take for a player to have his game translate through decades, eras, the way the game changes? What does it take for something like that to happen?
Well, I think the number one thing is, and I don't know him well enough to know if he did this, but I would pretty much guarantee he did, because you don't see it if not. But guys that continue to love the game and work at it, and you can never. You're kind of either getting better or you're getting worse in this league at any point. And, the second you start to sit back and think, I got to figure it out, you slip. So I'm sure he's a guy who's always kept, the foot on the gas. And, he's a big body, smart player, both with and without the puck, and menace in the face-off circle. It was... I remember playing against him as a young player and just feeling like I was a kid out there amongst the man. You bully you physically and the face-off circle and stuff like that. And he's a guy who's probably pushed to make me better when I've played against him for sure.
Glenn talked about the stinginess of the LA Kings. You guys obviously dealt with that in this last game against Florida. What do you take away from the Florida game that could be applied to this one against LA?
Yeah, I think against good teams, we talked about just execution and the little plays. You're never going to bat 1,000 on the plays you make during a game. It's just not possible. But you want to be every 3 to 4 or 5 plays you try to make, you want to make them. And if you're at that ratio, I think as an individual, I think it gives you a chance to have a good game. And, we were close. We had a lot of close looks last game, and ones that didn't quite connect to give us a grade A. And we watched a few of those this morning, and I think it was pretty accurate by Gully on that one. So I think that's something we want to bring tonight. And it's a hard-working team. I mean, you look at the roster; they're really deep and really talented, and we got to have. We've kind of talked about our 5-on-5 game. We got to have better in that department.
We've heard the phrase "jumping on the speeding train." How's that process been going for you? I mean, was it hard to jump right in 30 games into the season?
Yes and no. I think the first game, was the hardest by far. And then since then, I felt really good. So I think the last 2, especially, I think I felt better and better each game. And I felt good about what I did last game. Despite the loss, you got to try and take some positives, and I felt like that was trending towards kind of a normal game for me, and had some chances, created some looks, and hasn't gone in yet. But I'm not. That'll come. This isn't a situation where you look at it like a slump because it's you basically restart your season 3 different times. It's tough, and you just try to be patient with yourself. And I think for me, it's just trying to build on each game, try to keep getting better and get up to the level that I was at last season. So I'll get there. It's just it just takes some time, and I'm working towards it each day.
Does it matter? You've had a lot of, since you come back, playing with different players up and down. How is that to adjust to, as along with getting back into the speed of things as well?
Well, I think Gully's trying to learn, my game more than anything. I think I think he had in his head it was going to, he wanted to start me really slow the first 3 games, and we're kind of last game was the most I've played so far, and I think he's kind of maybe getting to know me still and understand my game and stuff like that. And he got that process with everybody else early in the year, and I didn't get a chance to see me enough. So that's probably part of it. And I think as he becomes more comfortable and understands me a bit better, and as my game continues to develop, it'll be a situation where I'm sure I'll start playing with similar guys. We find the right fit. We find the right kind of niche, I guess. So I understand that. I mean, it's a lot to juggle as a head coach. I mean, it's probably the hardest job in this league is being a head coach and trying to manage a bunch of different pieces, and you have a guy coming in after, missing 25 games. It's tough. So yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to, whoever I'm playing with, just trying to help them, trying as a centerman or as a, I guess a playmaking player, you're trying to make others around you better, and that's always what I'm kind of aiming to do. And I thought, I played with 2 different lines last game. I thought both lines did really good things, and we had a lot of really good looks. So we just want to keep doing that.
With your injury, is there any mental hurdle that you've kind of had to overcome, like the fear of the reality of the physicality of the game?
I would say the first game a little bit, and I would say there's little remnants of that here and there. There's that every now and then I find myself in kind of a uncomfortable position, and I wouldn't say I'm timid or worried. I would just say I'm aware. And you're reacclimating with that. I think you go through that, coming off the summer, you come off summer skates and you get back into, real games where guys are going to finish checks on you. You got to get used to that again. So I'd say I'm kind of in that process, but I wouldn't say it's something that's really affected me. I think the first 10 minutes of the first game back, I was definitely careful, and then since then I felt more comfortable, and it's been, but you take a hit like that, I think it's human nature to definitely make sure that. And as much as that caught me not ready, I knew he was coming. He was just there quicker than I, anticipated. So you definitely want to be sure out there.